Hello and welcome back to the second day of the semifinals in the Opera Rapid Euro tournament, and we are continuing with Teimour Radjabov and Wesley. So now I'm going to show you the critical game from the second day. So in the first day, Wesley won the set, so now Radjabov needs to equalize. And so far they played 2 draws, and this is the last game where Radjabov is with the white pieces. And given that with the black pieces Radjabov only lost 2 games and made 1 draw, his chances with the black pieces of scoring or winning is just very little. So it makes sense that now with his last white game, he just goes all in, tries to win at all costs. And well, even if he loses, then it's just the end of the tournament. But that would be the same as if drawing. So he really goes for a very sharp opening. And let's see what's going to happen here. So Radjabov starts with d4, knight f6, c4, e6, and we are going to have a Nimzo Indian after knight c3 and bishop b4. And as I mentioned, Radjabov needs to take well, as much risk as he actually likes to, because I mean, he absolutely has to win. So he goes for one of the sharpest lines. He plays the move f3. Of course, the point is that you want to play e4. Now comes c5, d5, castle, e4, all the very mainline stuff. Here comes b5, still very well known. And after b5 comes knight h3. This is still a mainline theory. The point here is that you would like to put your knight on f2. I mean, that's the natural place after your pawn is on f3. Here comes b takes c4, bishop takes c4, and now comes knight takes on d5. So it seems like a piece sacrifice, but actually it is not really. So if you were to take with the pawn, then black has queen h4 check and picks up the bishop. So pawn takes is not working. You have to take the only other way you can take is with the bishop. And so we can say this was not a piece sacrifice, we just clarify the situation in the center. And now comes queen takes d5 and knight c6. And this is still mainline theory. There are multiple games, actually like 10 games or so in this position. However, Radjabov actually makes a mistake here. So here the move is actually castling, and he plays bishop e3, and now black has a very strong continuation. So actually I invite you to stop the video and find a way how to continue with black. So if you look at the position, it's very clear that white is one move away of castling away to finish development, and then he can try to use the fact that the black center is a bit strange. You have a weak c5 pawn, you have a big d7 pawn, but you have to mention that black is yet to castle, and white is yet to castle, and black is the only one who has a light squared bishop. So the best move here is stopping white from castling, playing bishop a6. And all of a sudden, actually, black is taking control, is seizing the initiative immediately. So now, well, you develop your pieces or you go forward. Knight f4 is a natural move to one day try to jump in with knight d5. However, now comes queen h4, very good move. It basically forces white to play g3, and after you push this pawn, the f3 pawn is going to be a weakness forever, and we will see how important this actually is even at the very end of the game. So now comes queen f6, you are threatening here, king f2, bishop c3, b takes c3, and actually here Wesley continues in very nice fashion. You don't get greedy with starting to take pawns, because then white has some time to develop. So if you take, then probably the best move is rook c1, hitting the queen. Someday you can take this pawn or this one. So now there are opposite colored bishops, and really the best move is rook b8, immediately going for the open file. And here, clearly the best move is rook b1 to oppose black on the open file. But as mentioned, for some reason, as mentioned, the reason for Radjabov taking so much risk is he has to win, but he really overestimates or underestimates the potential in black position. He plays the move rook d1, and now comes knight e5. And he probably did blunder, actually, Radjabov did, because after bishop takes c5, there's a very, very nice tactical motive that, in my opinion, Radjabov missed, that now gives Wesley so a clear advantage. So again, I invite you to stop the video and find this tactical motive. So the first move is very natural. You come in with your rook b2 check, and well, your king cannot run. If you go backwards, then the f3 pawn hangs. I mean, going upwards, among other things, just runs into knight c4. So the only move here is you have to play rook d2. However, now black has a nice way to discoordinate these pieces. So the queen is the one that defends the rook. However, there is a nice intermediate move that just disconnects them. So if you wish, again, you can stop the video and try to find this move. So this move is actually knight d3 check. And now, so if you take with the knight, it's actually not possible because now your rook is hanging. And if you remove your king, then rook takes d3. And you're just collecting everything now, but black is a rook up. So this is absolutely not possible. So for this reason, I mean, the rook is pinned, you cannot take with the rook. If you move your king, then your rook is just hanging. So the only way here to continue is sacrificing your queen. Queen takes d3. And after bishop takes d3, rook takes b2, queen c3. Now black is up a queen for a rook and a minor piece. And also there's a double attack here, so white needs to go on with trading. Queen takes d3. And the final motive that ensures that black is going to end up with a lot of material advantage is that if you take on f8, then there is queen d4 check, picking up this guy, and this would be actually terrible immediately because you I don't know, you can't even go. So if you play king g2, then the check takes, and then there is this guy hanging. If you go like king f1 or something, there is still queen takes b2, and now this guy is hanging. You're gonna take this pawn. White is still undeveloped, so this is just completely game over. So bishop takes f8 is not possible. White played the move bishop e3. And actually it's important that now you go on with a dynamic play from the black side, because white actually has a quite reasonable structure. He has 4 connected pawns on the king side. There's this a pawn. Black has these two weaknesses. If white manages to just coordinate play rook d2, put the other one on d1, putting pressure against d7, d7 pawn is already under the attack of bishop, white might be able to stabilize and hold a draw. So you have to go quickly and use that white is still not very well coordinated. So again, if you want to stop the video, otherwise I go on. So the first move to continue with the initiative is playing the move f5. So again, this f3 pawn is the issue. If you were to take, then among other things, probably the queen takes back, and again this guy is the problem. And in this structure, the d pawn could actually be a passer. This is also an issue for white. So here white plays the move rook d2, and after queen b5, Radjabov decided that he cannot open the f file, and he plays the move e5. So now Wesley thanks for the pawn and takes it, but after rook hd1, the d7 pawn is going to be taken by the white rooks. So now comes a6 protecting this guy, rook takes d7 and rook e8 again. Now this bishop is attacked, and when white comes back with the rook, again comes Wesley with a very nice and dynamic way to continue. So you can stop again to think for yourself if you want. So here comes f4. It seems like that this f4 square is protected twice. However, both cases black has a nice way to continue both cases of taking. So first of all, if you take with the pawn, that actually looks already quite ugly to start with, but here black has an immediate way to use advantage of this. So queen e6 attacks this guy. You have to play something like rook d2, and now the black queen penetrates, and you actually have no way to protect this h2 pawn. If you remove your king, then the f3 pawn is hanging, and now your king is just way too weak. Bishop takes f4 is what happened in the game. However, now black can give a check, king g1, and finally you took an a2 pawn. And this actually means that your a pawn in the ending is very likely going to be queening. White will need to sacrifice his bishop for it. We will see how the game goes. So rook d2, queen b3, some natural moves. Well, either white or black, some of them is going to force this rook trade, so these pieces are traded anyway. And now we will see the technical phase of the game. So first of all, you're going to push this pawn in, let's see what white can do against this. So bishop goes to e5, but white's big problem is that he's not going to be able to take full control over the a4 a1 square. So now comes rook a4 a2, and actually in this position already, well, I don't think Radjabov blundered, but he didn't even try to keep his bishop. He immediately gave it up. So you could play something like rook e1 here, and after queen b1 you can try to go back and play rook a1. So for the time being it seems like you are quite well protected, but the issue is that now comes queen d2, king goes somewhere, say f1, and well, now actually there's an immediately queen e3 forces to give up actually immediately this bishop, because so now the bishop is hanging and also the f3 pawn is hanging. You cannot give up your f3 pawn because then it's immediately over. So you have to take here. Now you can't take here because of rook f2. However, you can just pick up the bishop. And we will see that this endgame is gonna arrive. So, but however, anyway, if you're defending here passively, then at some point the black king is gonna come up, and it's gonna be the end of the game anyway. At least at the end of your bishop. So at this position actually Radjabov decided to not even try to defend the a1 square and let actually black promote the new pawn. So here came rook e2, and queen b5 is actually a double attack because you are threatening to take on e2, but you're also threatening to take on e5 and then promote later. So white played rook e1, and you can actually just take this bishop. And after rook a5, the queen is immediately back on the board. And now this is the most technical part of the game. So we actually have this rook against the queen with 3 against 2, which usually gives quite reasonable drawing chances for white. The big issue is that your pawn is already on f3. The problem is that now the black king is just going to come all the way over, and this f3 pawn you will have no way to hang on to. It's very nice how Wesley does this. So firstly puts the queen on d2. Now the white king is very passive. The white rook, so this is the main issue, that the white rook is actually running out of moves. So if you had your pawn on f2, then you could just put the rook on e3 and then go back and forth with your king. However, now you are caught on the second rank and your rook does not have a good outpost. So there is no place on the e file that wouldn't be hanging immediately. Rook e5 runs into queen d4 check. If you go anywhere else on the fourth rank, you are going to lose your rook with a check as well. You can check it yourself. So now comes rook f4 check, but now actually the black king is gonna come all the way up. Rook e8, and the black king is at the other side. And actually we will see that there's no way to hang on to this any further. The issue that's gonna come is that the f3 pawn is again going to be weak, and just if you check decides the game. Check, check, check. And the issue is wherever you go with your king, either to h3 or you can also go down, doesn't really matter. So let's make king h3. Now comes king f7, in f7 double attack here and here, and if you play rook d8 then the black king comes over and the white colleague is going to be checkmated. So yeah, in this position actually after queen a2 check, Radjabov decided to throw in the towel and congratulated Wesley on making it to the final. So just a beautiful performance from actually Wesley, very dominant on the first day and even maybe more dominant in the second one. So really amazing performance, and now Wesley So is waiting for his opponent. Magnus Carlsen and then Vasil Lagrave are still playing it out. The second day is a lot closer than the first one was, so there's some chance for MVL, but it's likely going to be Magnus Carlsen and Wesley So final yet again. So yeah, in my next videos I'm going to continue the coverage of the final. So if you're interested, you can also subscribe to the channel, and then you won't miss the crucial games of the final. So see you then.